So for this session, you're just going to need your strap. So we're going to begin with our yoga strap. So wrap your hand around one end and then grab a hold of the other. Find whatever grip width you need. So I go for a quite wide grip to start, and we'll just do 10 overhead pass through. So you're going to inhale to lift up, take the strap all the way back behind you, tap behind you, and then come all the way back up and over. That is one rep tapping in front of you. So we're just going to do 10 of those in total. You'll feel that this really opens up the shoulders, working into that rotator cuff. And you might find as you do this, your shoulders kind of begin to ease off a little bit, and you can start to narrow that grip. So if you need to, you can shuffle your hand down along your strap, narrowing the grip until you find it slightly challenging. And just do 2 more each way. Last one. And then just release your hand from that strap. Place it to one side, you won't need it again. And we'll come into our Uttanasana forward fold. So finding yourself in Tadasana at the front of your mat. Inhale as you lift your hands up above the head, bend at the knees slightly and draw your chest over your thighs as you fold down, hinging at the hips. And just come into that ragdoll position. Just take a few deep breaths there, opening up the lower back, the hips, the hamstrings and the glutes. And then when you're ready, just place the hands on the floor. As we inhale, we're going to come down into this crouch curl position. So bend at the knees, heels off the floor, nose to knees. And then as we exhale, we're going to push back up into that forward fold. Inhale to crouch. Exhale to fold. 3 more. Inhale to crouch. Exhale to fold. Inhale to crouch. Exhale to fold. Last one. Inhale to crouch. Exhale to fold. From here, just heel toe your feet out to the edges of your mat. Find your squat stance. We'll inhale as we lift all the way up, extended Tadasana, palms together at the top. And as we exhale, come down into your garland pose. We'll just take a moment here, just opening up the hips, keeping that chest nice and high. Think about pulling those shoulders back and down, finding that nice long, flat back position. Maybe take a few bounces in the bottom of that squat. If your heels are off the floor, no problem. That's absolutely fine. I'd much rather you have a nice upright chest and heels lifted and not so much of a low squat for you to get the most out of this pose. From here, we're just going to take the hands to the floor, lift the bum back up, keeping the left foot outside of the left hand, step back with the right foot into your lizard lunge. So we're going to drop the back knee to the floor, reach the heart forwards and send that left knee out towards the side. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then from here, inhale to lift and twist with the left hand up towards the ceiling. Exhale, elbow tap to the floor, 3 each side. So inhale to lift. Exhale to tap. Inhale to lift. Exhale to tap. Replace the hands, step back to down facing dog. Maybe just take a moment to pedal out the calves, the hips, and the hamstrings. Opening up those feet and ankles too. And then we're going to do exactly the same on the right side. So right foot comes forwards outside of the right hand, dropping the back left knee to the floor. Take a moment to just set yourself up into that lunge, reaching the heart forwards, even pushing that right knee out to the side. Find that stretch in the groin. Inhale to lift and twist. Exhale, elbow to the floor. Inhale to lift. Exhale, elbow to the floor. Last one, inhale to lift. Exhale, elbow to the floor. From here, replace the hands, step back to down facing dog. Pedal out the feet. And then when you're ready, just take a few pulses through the shoulders. And then drop to your knees. And exhale as you sit back in extended child's pose. Just take 3 deep breaths in, focusing on that expansion across the upper back. So feel your shoulder blades separate and then sink back in and down. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then slowly come up onto your hands and knees. From here, take your hands underneath your shoulders, knees under hips. We're going to step the left foot outside of the left hand. And then with our left hand, we're going to keep the right hand grounded. Left hand is going to do palm facing up. Reach forwards as you inhale. Exhale, sweep over to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, sweep over to the right again. So we're just going to do 3 more of these, so it's 5 each way. Last one. And then come back to center. Come back with your arm, palm facing down now. Inhale to reach forwards. Exhale, reach over to the right. So you should notice the difference between the two is that the first one, you could feel the stretch lower down, maybe in the mid waistline, even in the hip. And this one, you should feel it more in the lat and the shoulder. Last one. And then come back to center, replace the hand, step back with the left foot, come forwards with that right foot outside of that right hand. And exactly the same again. So palm facing up, inhale as you reach forwards, exhale to sweep over to the left. Inhale back to center, exhale. 5 each way. 4, last one. 5. Return back to center, palm facing down, inhale to reach forwards, exhale to sweep. Feeling it now transition further up the shoulder, into the lat. 3, 4, 5. Return back to center, step back and come up into your down facing dog position. So take a moment there to just find yourself in down facing dog, maybe pedal the feet slightly, even pulse through the shoulders, find that length in the spine. And then when you're ready, we're going to take a body flow. So we're going to inhale, roll forwards, drop the hips, come up into cobra. Untuck the toes, think about activating through the legs. So squeeze the inner thighs, squeeze the glutes, point the toes, press the ground away. If you need to come down into Sphinx for this, exactly the same, but on the forearms. And then from here, press the ground away and think about just moving through the hips, rotating maybe in a figure of 8 for 5 or so rotations one way, opening up that front body, and then rotate the other way if you can do it. Again, for 5 or so rotations in the other way. Come back to center, exhale, tuck the toes and press back to your down facing dog. And then we're going to come back into that lizard lunge again. So inhale, lift the left leg up high to the sky. Exhale, step it outside of the left hand. Dropping the back knee down to the floor, sending the heart forwards. Option to come down onto the forearms if you can. If you need a block, you can always find a halfway house if you're kind of not quite as comfortable on your forearms, but this is too or not enough challenge for you. Go wherever you feel comfortable. Keeping those toes glued to the ground. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale. One more deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then inhale as you come back up onto your hands and again, and then reach back with your left hand to your right foot, bringing that heel in towards your bum. So you might want to use your strap if you can't reach. Pulse it a few times. And then hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, release, and step back to down facing dog. From here, we're just going to jump forwards or step forwards to Uttanasana. Find our halfway lift as we inhale, squeezing those shoulders back and down. Finding that nice flat back tabletop position. Exhale, melt forwards. Heel toe the feet out to the edges of the mat. Find your squat stance and we're coming back into that garland pose. So inhale, lift all the way up, extended Tadasana, palms together at the top. Exhale, come down into that garland pose. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then inhale as you come all the way up. Heel toe the feet back underneath you. Find your Tadasana position. Again, from here, we're going to take a big step back with the right foot into warrior two. So big step back to the back of the mat. Back foot goes down at a 45-degree angle, keeping the hips nice and square to the front of the mat to begin with. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, twist the hips open to the long edge of the mat and sink down into that lunge position for warrior two. Bringing the hands parallel to the floor. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale, and then inhale as you straighten that front leg. Exhale as you reach as far forwards as you can and rotate at the waist, coming into triangle pose, reaching up tall as you inhale with that right hand up towards the ceiling. Eye gaze up towards the ceiling if you can. Option to place the hand on the shin or even come in side angle if you need to. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, release that top hand to the floor. Inhale as you lift and twist with your left out to the other side into revolved triangle pose. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then release that hand to the floor. Walk the hands into the center of your mat. We're coming into wide leg forward fold. So take the feet out wide, short edges of the mat against long edges of the feet. Think about extending through the inner thighs, sending those sit bones high towards the sky, finding length if you need to, and then exhaling as you fold down into that wide leg forward fold. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, and then left hand lifts as right hand comes to center as we come into that revolved wide leg forward fold. So press the ground away with that right hand. Exhale to release the left hand to the floor. Walk the hands all the way to the front of the mat. Twizzle yourself around, finding a low lunge position. So back right knee comes to the floor. Reach the heart forwards. Find your steady stance. So if you need to take your feet slightly wider or your foot and your knee slightly wider to be more steady, feel free. And then we're going to inhale as we lift all the way up into extended or crescent lunge. Eye gaze up towards the ceiling. And if you want to, you can start to send the hands back. Inhale to come all the way up. Exhale to release the hands to the floor. Pull back into half splits. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale. And then inhale as you come forwards back into that low lunge position. Exhale, step through to Uttanasana, forward fold. Folding deeper over those thighs. Just taking a moment to reset. And then as we inhale, we're going to come straight up into chair. So not quite all the way into Tadasana. Sit back into the heels, squeeze those inner thighs, brace that core, and then inhale to lift, exhale, release. And we'll repeat on the other side. So we're going to inhale, extended Tadasana, reaching up tall, exhale, come all the way down into Uttanasana, forward fold. Option to step or hop back to down facing dog. And we're coming into that lizard lunge on the right side this time. So right foot comes outside of the right hand, dropping that back knee to the floor, reach the heart forwards, keeping those toes grounded. You can either come onto your forearms or block wherever you need to be, trying to flatten your body towards the floor. Taking a nice deep breath in. Exhale, 2 more deep breaths, just like that. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then inhale as you come up onto your hands and then reach back with your right hand back to left foot. Using a strap if you need to, pulling that heel in towards your glute and just pulsing a few times and then holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, release. Step back to down facing dog. And then we're going to hop forwards to that Uttanasana, forward fold. And inhale as we come into that halfway lift. Squeezing those shoulders back and down. Sending those hips back. Exhale, melt forwards. Heel toe the feet out to the edges of the mat. Find your squat stance. Inhale as you come all the way up, extended Tadasana, palms together at the top. Exhale, come down into your garland pose. It should feel a little bit easier this time. Our hips are now beginning to kind of loosen off, so it shouldn't feel quite as stiff, but still focus on that nice upright torso. Heels to the floor if you can. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then inhale as we come all the way up, extended Tadasana, heel to toe the feet underneath, and we're stepping back into that warrior two. So we'll go straight there this time. So left foot goes back, Hips are open to the long edge of the mat. Exhale, sink down into warrior two. Really think about squeezing the inner thighs and the glutes to pull the hips into the correct position, and then squeezing the shoulder blades back and down to have that nice upright torso, as well as engaging that core. This should be a strong position. It shouldn't be easy. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale, and then inhale as you straighten that front leg. Exhale to reach and twist, bringing that right hand to the floor. Inhale as you lift and twist with the left hand up towards the ceiling. Extended triangle pose. Remember, you can always place that hand on the shin or come into side angle if you need to. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale, release that top hand to the floor. Inhale to lift and twist into revolved triangle pose. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale, release the hand, walk the hands all the way around to the center of the mat, finding our wide leg forward fold. So I've got my back to you guys, but you're finding your long edges of your feet against short edges of the mat, finding that length in the spine before you exhale and fold deeper into this posture. Take a nice deep breath all the way in, pressing the ground away. And then take your left hand into the center of the mat this time. Inhale as you lift and twist with your right up towards the ceiling. Press the ground away with that left hand. Really open up those shoulders. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, release. Walk the hands back round to the front of the mat. Find your low lunge position. So back knee comes to the floor. Remember to find your steady stance. We're coming up into crescent lunge. So when you're ready, set yourself up as you inhale into that low lunge. Exhale, sink deeper. And then inhale to lift the hands up, pressing through this front leg. So remember, you need to create space here to go backwards. So press the ground away with the front leg and lift through the heart to lift everything up before you exhale to go back. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, see if you can reach a little bit further. And then inhale as you come all the way up. Exhale, pull back into half splits. Take a nice deep breath in, reaching nose towards toes. Exhale, and then inhale to come all the way forwards, sending that heart forwards into that low lunge position. Exhale, step through into your Uttanasana, forward fold, folding the chest over the thighs. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold deeper. And then inhale as you come into chair pose. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, sink deeper. Inhale to lift, exhale, release, and shake it all out. So today, I thought we would go through pigeon pose just quickly. So we're gonna come down onto the mat. We can progress this into mermaid or even king pigeon if you feel ready. But probably most of us will just get to pigeon or mermaid. So you're gonna come into that down facing dog position. And then from here, bring the left foot through and slide the right leg back. So with pigeon pose, the most important thing is we have nice level hips. If you need to use a block or pillow to support, that's grounded bum cheek because you're not quite there, that's absolutely fine. But think about connecting that sit bone to floor and rolling that right hip down towards that left heel. Find length in the torso, so try and have a nice upright torso and really activate through the legs. Find that stretch in the hip flexor of that right leg. Press the ground away, take a nice deep breath all the way in. And then we can exhale to melt forwards into sleeping pigeon, getting deeper into that glute. Take another nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then when you're ready, inhale to come all the way back up. So option to continue with that, or option to try and catch that back leg and come into mermaid. So with the back leg, you're going to bend at the knee and try and hook the elbow around the toes. This is where you really need to focus on rolling that right hip bone down and not rolling over onto the left sit bone. From here, once you've found your balance, you can take that left hand off the floor, reach back and see if you can interlace the fingers, opening up the chest, the shoulders and the hips all in one go. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale. One more deep breath all the way in. Exhale, release. So this is really good for opening up the quads as well. If you want to take it further, you can see if you can grab that foot and flip the grip coming into king pigeon. So you're going to take the hand around the outside of the foot, grab a hold of the toes, flip the grip, and then come back into that king pigeon pose. So that's your 3 levels of pigeon. So whichever variation you want to do, you can stick with that, and then we're going to repeat on the other side before we go into a cool down. I just thought I'd give you a little bit of a progressive option in this session today. So we're going to step back to down facing dog. It might be one that you want to try and practice on your own at another time, but I just thought I'd give you a little bit of introduction to the pose. And then we'll switch sides. So we'll scissor the legs over, bringing that right leg forwards. And you might find that one leg's easier than the other. Setting yourself up into that pigeon posture. So really focus on finding that stretch in that left hip flexor first and finding that nice level hip position. You can use that block or pillow under the sit bone to floor, hip bone to heel, press the ground away, and as you exhale, melt forwards over that front leg, opening up that glute as well in the right leg. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then inhale as you come all the way up. So option again to repeat that first level, or we can come into mermaid on the other side. So bending that front leg, back leg, sorry. Hooking that elbow around the foot, finding your balance, and then reaching back into that mermaid pose. So really use those legs and hips to find your steady balance. Press the body down into the ground. So press through the legs and the hips into the ground. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale. One more deep breath all the way in. Exhale, release. And shake it off if you need to. So again, we can try to do king pigeon from here. So you're coming back, reaching around the outside of that foot, bringing the heel in, and then reaching back. So I can't do it on the other side, but you've got that flip the grip position, and then coming back. So you could use a strap for this if you wanted to. Hooking your foot around that strap and then pulling that strap in towards the head and finding that nice upright position until eventually your foot might reach your head. So that's your variations for pigeon pose today. So you've got normal pigeon, sleeping pigeon, mermaid pose, which is the next variation, and then you've of course got king pigeon, which is a very progressive advanced pose. So just a little challenge to keep you occupied in lockdown. So from here we're just going to come down onto our mats in a seated position to finish off with a few seated stretches. So taking the legs straight out in front of us, we're going to come into a wide leg forward fold. So think about finding your sit bones on the floor, sending the legs out wide, flexing the heels back towards you. So you've got nice activated legs, and then reaching forwards through the center, creeping the chest through. So again, like the seated forward folds with the legs together, you're thinking about bringing that tummy to the floor rather than hunching at the back. Think about flattening yourself to the floor. Take 3 deep breaths. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then inhale as you come all the way up. Bring the legs together now. Taking the right foot over the top, the left foot over the top of the right leg. You can bend the right knee if you want to. Make sure both sit bones are on the floor. We're coming into half Lord of the Fishes. From here, you're going to take the right elbow around the left knee. Inhale as you lift and twist the belly in toward the thigh. Exhale as you look over that left shoulder. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale. 2 more deep breaths all the way in, just like that. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale, unravel and switch sides. So right leg goes over the top, left leg comes under and round, or straight ahead if you need to. Right foot is flat on the floor outside of the right knee is flat on the floor outside of the left knee. I can't get my lefts and rights right today. Hooking that left elbow around that right knee. Inhale to lift and twist. Exhale as you look over the shoulder and back behind you. And again, just 3 deep breaths. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then inhale as you come all the way back round. We're going to come onto our backs now. So slide yourself down towards your heels, come onto your backs, bring your knees in towards your chest. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Hug those knees in tight and then take your hands over to your left knee. Exhale as you extend your right leg all the way to the floor. Inhale to pull that left knee in towards your sternum. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale, one more deep breath all the way in again. Exhale and slightly release. Inhale to bring your right knee back up to center, switching over the sides. Exhale as you extend the left leg all the way to the floor this time. Inhale to pull that right knee in towards your sternum. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale. One more deep breath all the way in. Exhale again. And then inhale as you lift both knees to the center, taking the arms out wide, palms facing down, glue those shoulders to the floor. We're going to exhale as we drop the knees all the way over to the left. Inhale to lift and twist the head to look towards the right. From here you can press down on the outer thigh, let gravity do the work, or extend that top leg, and just take 5 deep breaths. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then inhale as you come all the way back up to center. Exhale as you drop the knees all the way over to the other side of the body now. And then you can inhale to lift and twist the head to look towards the left. So pressing down again on the outer thigh, letting gravity do the work, or extending that top foot and cradling it in the hand. Take 5 deep breaths. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then inhale as you lift your head and your knees back to center. Hug them both into your chest. Rock from side to side, massage that lower back. And then whenever you're ready, just slowly roll over onto the right side of your body and gently come all the way up to seated. Finding yourself in the center of the mat, take one final deep inhale as we lift the hands up above the head, palms together. And as we exhale to the forehead, kind thoughts. To the lips, kind words. To the heart, kind feelings. Namaste.